Hello guys, Greg back with another video. So recently I reviewed a new fragrance from the house of Parfums Vintage, and that one was called Pineapple Vintage Beyond Noir. And today I'm going to look at another new release from the house, and this one's called Pineapple Vintage Noir Intense. Before we get into it, as promised, and what I'll do on all my videos moving forward, a quick watch of the day. So this one is the Tissot PRS 516. So on to the fragrance review. Now, Parfums Vintage have now got 5 fragrances in the Pineapple Vintage range, which is essentially a Creed Aventis inspired range. In the previous video that I did looking at the Beyond Noir fragrance, I spoke in a bit of detail about the rationale behind having 5 fragrances and the differences between each one. So I won't go into that too much. I will recap on that a little bit. I'm not going to do a full review on this fragrance. I'm sure you've seen reviews on one or another of this range on YouTube. We're going to talk about the differences that this one offers compared to the others, rather than sort of rehashing all of the other things about the fragrance. Before we do, quick look at the presentation. So really like the box on this fragrance. It looks very high quality. On the back you've got this artwork that you've got on all of the Pineapple Vintage fragrances. Here's the bottle. This one's actually got a black cap on here. I believe the others are all brown. Let's have a look at the sprayer. Really gives out a great spray, actually reminiscent of the sort of original Creed fragrances. I think I've swallowed some. Ugh, it doesn't taste as good as it smells, I'll tell you that. So this one, Noir Intense, it kind of sits in the middle of the 3 stages that this range offers you. So you get Pineapple Vintage and Pineapple Vintage Intense. They sit on the fruitier side. Pineapple Vintage Noir and this one, Pineapple Vintage Noir Intense, they ramp up the smokiness so that the smoke is more apparent than the fruit. Fruit's still very much there, but the smoke is more apparent than the fruit. And then you've got Beyond Noir, which is right at the other end of the spectrum. There's virtually no fruit at all. It's just a big mass of smoke. So notes on this one. At the top you've got pineapple, apple and birch. In the mid you've got bergamot, cassis, rose and jasmine. In the base there's patchouli, vanilla and ambergris. Now, even though I said this is the smokier version, you do still get that real lovely burst of fresh pineapple right at the very start. It's just that very quickly the strong accord of that sort of smoky, tarry birch comes through and sort of takes over. Now, I have to be honest and say that the smoky accord in this particular fragrance doesn't really work for me as well as it does in the others. I prefer the original Noir fragrance to this. The smokiness is different between the two. I can't put my finger on what the difference is or what this one reminds me of, but it just doesn't personally work for me. It doesn't mean to say it won't for you. So as I always say, go and sample all of the fragrances and see which one works best for you, because they are different and they work differently on different people's skin. Projection on this one is about average, I'd say. It projects very well for about an hour, very strong actually for about an hour, but then after that, quite quickly, I find myself searching for it to be able to smell it. Total longevity is really good. I mean, it lasts way beyond the whole day, and by total longevity I mean I can smell it if I kind of put my arm in the vicinity of my face. Sort of after about 3 hours you get a sort of smoky patchouli that comes in. Of course there's already smoke in the fragrance, but patchouli kind of adds to that. But what I do love about this fragrance and all of the fragrances in this range is how it smells after about 8 hours. It's not strong, and you don't really get so much of the benefit of it unless you sniff yourself. But there's a very faint, very beautiful floral accord that lingers for hours after everything else has gone on this fragrance. And I can literally keep smelling my arm to try and smell, get that smell. It was really fantastic. I pity it wasn't a bit more sort of prominent early on. I don't know what it is, but I really do enjoy it. It's the best part of the fragrance for me. So regarding the Aventis comparison that we always have to talk about with these fragrances, I've said in the previous video, these fragrances aren't clones of Aventis. They just smell similar. If you're someone that's only going to wear this type of fragrance on a rare occasion and you own Aventis, and you don't use it very much, you get it out when special occasions, then just stick with your Aventis. You've got it already. But if you're someone that wears this kind of fragrance every day and you're wearing Aventis every day, it's worth picking up one of these fragrances to wear together or to sort of alternate, because wearing Aventis every day, as good as it is an expensive game. So, if I would suggest maybe buying this, saving some money, and switching them out now and again. If you don't have Aventis at all, or any of these types of fragrance, but you really want to, start with this one, because it's a lot cheaper, and you'll get the idea of if you're going to like Aventis. It's unlikely you'll like one but not the other, whilst they're not identical. They're very similar fragrances. To kind of sum up, if I was honest, I think the house should probably have 3 versions of this fragrance. I think having 5 clouds in the message a little bit. My favourite fragrances are the Pineapple Vintage Intense and the original Pineapple Vintage Noir. I think Pineapple Vintage Beyond Noir needs to be in the range, because it's got to have that smoky one that's right out there for people that really love that ashy smoky fragrance. But then, 2 fragrances plus Beyond Noir would cover all bases. Not my decision, just my opinion, and that's what I'm here to give you guys. If I was spending my own money, rather than buying these for my business, which is what I am doing, Pineapple Vintage Intense is the one that I would personally buy. So there you go, guys. Just a quick video of my thoughts on the latest one from this house. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think of this house and this fragrance. Give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do. And I will see you all very soon with another video. Cheers.